Good morning or good day or good evening to everyone. All right, we're going to be picking back up because I need to learn. I need to be prepared. A book. Okay, where's documentation? References, examples, docs. Documentation. Installation. Because I know Django I can fumble my way through, but HTMX, which I'm assuming it's HTML. In a nutshell, HTMX is a library that allows you to access modern browser features directly from HTML rather than using JavaScript. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Because I'm not a big fan of JavaScript. What's the color look like right now? Not that great. The lighting seems really weird today, everybody, so I'm sorry. Because even that, I feel very... And then that's been happening this morning. So I don't know what could be different. It's very, very cloudy here today. And I'm very hesitant to move and change any of the hue. All right. Let's see. To understand HTMX, first let's look at another anchor tag. Reference blog A. This anchor tells the browser when the user clicks this link, issue HTTP GET request to blob and load the response content into the browser web. With that in mind, consider the following bit of HTML. Yeah, button. Outer HTML clicked, post click. All right. So you might be wondering why am I reading HTMX? Let's see. Any questions so far? Any folks jumping on? All right. All right. This tells HTMX when a user clicks this button, issue request clicked. Use the content of the response to replace the element with the ID parent div in the DOM. Click me. That's probably a hover. Okay, HTMX extends the generalization of the core ID of HTML as a hypertext, opening up many responsibilities directly within the language. Now any element, not just anchors and forms, can issue HTTP. Really? Okay, hang on. I'm making flashcards. I have not made flashcards, and I could not tell you how long. Now, any element, not just anchors and forms, can issue a TTP. Okay. True or false? What do I need to do? Any element not just, I'm looking right here. If you're jumping on and you're like, what are you looking at? All right, I'm looking at this. Not just anchors and forms can issue an HTTP request. All right. Now, an event, not just clicks or forms from it, can trigger requests. Holy moly. Now, an event, not just clicks or form submissions can trigger requests. All right. Now, any HTTP verb, not just get and post, can be used. Okay. Now, any HTTP verb, which we're going to click on that in a minute, not just get and post. I'm here on this one. Can be used. All right. Now, any element, not just the entire window, can be triggered for update by the request. Holy crap. Okay. So that I ran into this when I was the last app that I was building. You had to reload the whole window, and it would just take time. But if this is saying that once you click something, you can just reload a segment of it, that's unbelievable. Well, I can see why this was created. Element, not just the entire window, can be the target for update by the request. Holy moly. All right. Note that when you're using HTMX on the server side, you typically respond with HTML, not JSON. On the server side. Okay. This keeps you firmly within the original web programming model, using hypertext as the engine of application state without even needing to really understand that concept. It's worth mentioning that if you prefer, you can use the dative prefix when using... Oh, we need to go back because I do not know what this is. Open a new tab. Let's look at... It's just saying HTTP verb. Okay, so literally... I've never heard that term, HTTP verb. And why did it send me here? Come on. Come on. HTTP verbs. Do you see verbs anywhere? Oh, actions. I got it. Get, head, post, put, delete, connect. Okay, these verbs. The work. Action. Okay. Literal HTTP actions. Never heard that used that way. All right. A literal definition with verb. An action word. Hope everyone's doing well today. I am familiarizing myself with HTMX right now. And I need to get... We're also going to be looking at Alpine.js, so some JavaScript. Alpine.js. Yeah, check this out. We're going to be doing this in a little bit. Declare a new Alpine component and its data for a block of HTML. Dynamically set HTML attributes on an element. Listen to browser elements on an element. Okay, we're going to need to be looking at that. Text, set the text content of an element. It's literally that easy. 15 attributes, 6 properties, 2 methods. Reuse the data object and refer to it as data X. Data or Alpine store, declare a piece of global reactive data that can be accessed from anywhere using store. No way. Let me do this right now before I forget. Any questions of anything I might be looking at? We need to be doing. Alpine.js. I'm going to be doing. It's 15 attributes. 6 properties, 2 methods. Store, and then yeah, we'll move this up here. Alpine attributes. Alpine properties. Alpine methods. All right. We'll do that later. All right. 1x, 2x migration. That don't care. That's not much. Installing HTMX is a dependency free. That's important. Okay. HTMX. Browser oriented JavaScript library. Okay. HTMX is, let's say, free. Well, that's not exactly accurate. It's a JavaScript library, so it needs JavaScript. So that's not an accurate statement. All right. This means you're simply adding script tag to your document heading. There is no need to build a system to use it via a CND. Oh, hang on. I didn't tell anybody we were here. Nor did I turn on any speakers. Hang on a second. All right. Let's see. All right. C and D. Well, I need to learn not using CNDs in production. While CND approach is extremely simple, you want to consider not using CND. All right. Fast way to get going with HTMX is to load via CND. What is CND? How have I never heard of CND up until this point? CND JavaScript. That would be is that going to send me somewhere? Content delivery network for JavaScript libraries is a network for servers, distributed access across the globe that hosts, delivers JavaScript files using CND. What is CND? Oh, yeah. Content delivery network. Okay. Fast loading times. Blah, 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 blah. All right. An unminified version. You can simply, let's go up here. I'm right here. You can simply add this to your head tag and get going. Unpack, cross origin, integrity. Okay. An unminified version is also available as well. So that's the mini version. What's the difference between HTMX, JavaScript, unpack, unpack.com? Oh, where'd that go? Open a new tab. All right, we're just humming along. Whoa, okay. This is the non-mini version. Okay. Unload. Let's go back. All right, download a copy. Literally, that's it. All right. Yep. Next, excuse me. Next, the easiest way to install HTMX is to simply copy it to your project. Download htmx.mini. That's literally it. Interesting. Where would we place this? Nope. Where would we place this? And add it to the appropriate directory in your project and include the necessary, where necessary, with a script tag. Okay, so that will be used to load up into, all right, where appropriate. All right, adding features. Sorry, I'm going back and thinking about what the job description was. And it said extensive. What does it read? What does it read? What does it read? Currently contributed was full. With major contributions to front-end features. Okay, got to pay some bills today. And we got to look at, we'll look at that in a minute. So with a script tag, np install, don't know what this is. Let's see what this is. Build amazing things. Documentation for the np registry website command line interface. About npm. Let's look at this. Largest software registry, open source. Open source developers for every continent use NPM to share and browse packages, borrow packages. Many organizations, and there goes Facebook. I got to give them props for their notifications. Actually, Zach at the boot camp, he worked on notifications. He said we just spammed everybody. All right. Command line registry is a large public database of JavaScript softwares and the meta information surrounding it. All right, I'll come back to that later. All right. For MP style built systems, you can install HTMX via npm. After installing, you'll need to use appropriate tooling to use modules, HTMX. For example, you might bundle HTMX with some extensions and projects, simplified code. All right. Sorry, my brain just went all the way back to some stuff. Give me a second. All right. I need to check something. That's Alpine.js. Can't watch anybody else's YouTube on here. Oh boy. I just gotta, hang on. Let me read. Just got a comment, and I need to see where it came from. Thank you for sharing such valuable information. A bit off topic. Oh, this person keeps trying to get me to engage with them about a wallet. Yep. Nope. Got one of the fakest emails today of from the CEO of HBSC. So that one slipped through my filter because it grabs everything typically from spam, because I've been getting emails from Homeland Security, hey Jan, how are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. I'm boning up on because so here's my current situation. I'm gonna be got a part-time job lined up. Just gotta wait on background checks and everything to happen, and I need to build some pop-ups and some logic for some database for their internal web apps, and then on top of that, I may be able to at least get an interview with another. Hang on. What? Oh, that's garbage. You did. You just finished a project. That's awesome. What kind of project? Work or personal passion, however you want to describe it. I'm making note cards. Yeah, I got note cards right here. But yeah, what kind of project for you? And Peaky sent, I think you already liked Peaky's comment. The freelance jobs on Upwork. I thought that was very nice of Peaky to send that all out. Whoa, what the? Sorry, I got my icons at the bottom of my... I know I'm getting spoiled when I'm like, I got to move my mouse all the way over to the other screen and find it at the bottom. I'm like, that's pretty lazy. Automated a process and ASP to save the end user some time. That's awesome. And loads of effort. I bet it was automation. I really like automation. I really do. I feel like those are the puzzles that I like. It's like, can you solve like all of the puzzles that I end up doing? I mean, if you think about it, it's just an extension of automation. And it's like, what would you do? Automation is just like, hey, algorithmic design. It's like finding, like, I mean, the prime number. I mean, you have to follow the rules of what is a prime number and things like that. Automation of, if this happens, we have to do this. If we have to do this, I absolutely love automation. Let's see. What did Peaky actually? Let's see. I've never seen it lay out like this. I want to try something. Does that work? Yeah, it does. Huh. Well, I'm gonna have to do this. I went back and changed it to data, because the problem with data analyst is I never really got into the dashboards. I wasn't asked to, because I wrote better algorithms. Not just because I did that more, so I wrote better algorithms. I've been working 50 hours a day for the past 5 years. 90 hours a week is slacking. This is somebody I follow on LinkedIn that I've been... Oh, that's funny. Yep, everybody's trying to say that hiring increased in December, and if you ask all of us trying to find jobs, we would disagree with that statement. But yeah, everything, because it's Friday jobs report. I don't know if anybody is interested or has time to track that. Actually, hang on a second. I got a couple things in the freezer. I was behind. I'll be right back. Hang on, everybody. Alright, I'm coming back, everybody. Be right there. Okay. Alright. For those of you who are still here, how's the color looking? Because I feel like the color is not great this morning, because I'm very dependent on the outside lighting. Let's see. My setup is very dependent on outside lighting. That feels red, and if it's already red on this screen, it's very red everywhere else. There, I think that's all the light that I have. And if I do that and block that out, that's literally shining on me. Light had shone. All right. Well, this is just a live stream. You all are very patient with me. Bit grainy. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Do I look red? Something's off. All right. Thank you, Jan. All right. Hope all the life changes. I don't want, like I said, don't want to put your business out there. Hope all the new life changes for you are still going swimmingly. Because I remember I remember those changes. All right. Let's see. So np webpack. Let's look. All right. After installing, you need to be appropriately tooling to use node modules, HTMX.org, dist HTMX.javascript, which was the mini, which was this. And then we need to put this in the proper spot. For example, you might bundle HTMX. Alright, OBS just dropped and came back up. We've been having really bad internet at our place for the past probably 2 or 3 weeks. I should be back. I hope I'm back. Everything says I'm back, so we'll pick back up. Alright. Let's see. Alright. For example, you might bundle HTML back. Okay, thank Jen. If you're using Webpack to manage your JavaScript, install HTMX via your favorite package manager like npm or YAML. Or not YAML, sorry. That was a way different file extension, or yarn. All right. File extensions. All right, I'm right here. File. No, Paget, not file extensions. That's garbage. Project manager. Package manager, not project manager. npm or yarn. Let's look up yarn. Let's see. Yarn.js. Oh. Here, I'll show you what I'm reading. All right. Yarn and NPR are both package managers for Node.js. All right. That offer similar features but have some key differences. Speed. Yarn is generally faster than NPM, especially when installing large projects. Yarn installs packages in parallel, while NPM, that'd be a good question. Act like I know what I'm doing. Security, Yarn is designed for a stronger focus on security. Then, okay, that's good. NPM has a larger community than Yarn. NPM, Yarn. So they're just trade-offs, and they both go after Yarn. Offers advanced features like plug and play and support for mono repos. Using workspace, and here's the default package manager. Okay, that would be Yarn. Was developed by Facebook in collaboration with Google, Exponent, and Tilde, and was released in 2016. It was created to address some of the shortcomings of NPM at the time, particularly around performance, security, and deterministic dependency managers. That's a lot. All right. Let me make some notes on that. Okay. But Yarn has better. So, wait a minute. Yarn is faster. Oh, Yarn was okay. Yarn was developed later. All right. Okay, Yarn. Faster, more secure. And dependency. Better dependency. Deterministic dependency. All right. And npm basically all it is just a larger community and larger resources. All right. Larger community, larger resources. All right. Let's see, what else? Let's see. Install HTMX, got it. Add the import of index JavaScript, index.js. Okay. Import htmx.org. If you want to use global HTMX variable recommended, you need to inject it into the window scope. Create custom JS file. Import this file into your index. Okay. Below the import from step 2. Okay. Oh, that's my custom. Got it. Then add this to your code file in window HTML file. Finally rebuild your bundle. All right. Cool. All right. Ajax. The core of HTMX is a set of attributes that allows you to issue Ajax requests directly from HTML. Whoa. I guess I don't know Ajax. Ajax JavaScript. jQuery API documentation. That doesn't look right. All right, we're just going to go over this Ajax. Issue Ajax. So hex get, issue a get request to the given URL. Post, issue a post request to a given URL. Issue a put request to a given blah blah blah. So that's pretty self-explanatory. All right. So HX and just the appropriate verb, our action. All right. Any questions so far about what we're doing? All right. Let's see. Each of these attributes takes a URL to issue an Ajax request. The element will issue a request to the specified type to the given URL when the element is triggered. Put the message. Tell the patch get post. I wonder if we need to go back and even do something here along these lines. Actually, I do want to read that. Was reading a post by somebody in the data community, and they were talking about this one book called let me get it, Dead Companies Walking. And it was basically the companies didn't even know, or they didn't know how to change. There was one that was just mind-boggling to me. I forget when I was reading. Oh, I know what I was. I was trying to do a black belt certification for lean management. No, it was a green belt. Green belt management for lean management. And it was the typewriter companies. They were so stuck in their ways is that they did not even understand. It was when word processors were coming out. When you had to, it was like this little, it was a slowly different, I don't even know if you can find a typewriter anymore. I know there's, you have to be able to do that, I think. To actually have to be able to like punch stuff out. Maybe not, I don't know. Because you actually, there's corporate SEC rules. You have to keep a paper document still. You have certain records that you have to have paper backups, literal documentation still. Because I do think about like bank records and things like that. All right. Let's see. Here we are. Oh, I was going to look up. Oh, well, actually, let's do this. Let's go through these. Request methods. Get methods requests that the target source transfers a representation of its state. Get requests should only retrieve data and should have no other effect. This is also true for some other HTTP methods. For retrieving sources without making changes, get is preferred over post, as they can be addressed through a URL. This enables bookmarking and sharing, and makes get responses eligible for caching, which you can save bandwidth. What's this? Hang on one second, everybody. I'll be right back. Gosh, 30 years ago was 94. Alexa, cancel. Alexa, set a 30-minute timer. All right, I'm back. All right. And there we go. All legal documents must be kept on file for some time in case tax check comes and you accidentally suffer a power outage. Oh yeah. Not just for tax records. I forget what it was. There are actually companies that have space in mountain. It's at least over here in the U.S. have space in like mountains, and that guarantee safe places for safe harbor for document retrieval. So basically, like if something happens, we can rebuild everything. All right. www consortium w3c. Okay. Thought that would be something important. All right. Caching was published. Guidance principles on the distinction saying web application design should be informed by the above principles, but also by relevant limitations. See safe methods below. All right, head. All right, get head method. Probably should make notes of all these. Are there 6 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got get. I'll come back and do these later. Head. Post. Put. Because I feel like these would be interview questions. Delete. Connect. Options. Trace. Patch. Yep. There we go. All right. Head method would request that the target resource transfers a representation of its state as for the GET request, but without the representation data enclosed in the response body. This is useful for retrieving the representation metadata of the response header without having to transfer the entire representation. Uses include checking whether a page is available through the status and quickly finding the size of a file, content length. Okay, post. The post method, now see why does that have its own post and post method, requests that the target source process the representation enclosed in the request according to the semantics of the target source. For example, it can be used for posting a message to the internet forum, subscribing to a mailing list, or completing an online shopping transaction. I feel like these could be written a lot better. All right. Put method requests that the target source create or update its state with the state defined by the representation enclosed in the request. A distinction from post is that the client specifies the target location on the server. All right. So that took me forever. Client side, server side. Server. It's the way that I did it is client. It's like client. What's the client? Well, it's client and server. Well, the server, everybody knows server. So if it's not the server, it's the client. So if you're not the server, you're the client. So the computer interacting with the server is off the internet. All right, if that helps. That's just the way that I had to remember it when I first started going through all these. All right, put client on this client side, delete. Delete method requests that the target source delete its state. All right, the connect method requests that intermediary establish a TCP and IP tunnel to the origin server identified by the target request. It is often used to secure connections through one or more HTTP proxies with TLS. See, we're not going to go into that. All right, options. The option method requests that the target resource transfers HTTP methods that it supports. This can be used to check the functionality of a web server by requesting asterisk instead of a specific resource. All right. Trace method requests that the target source transfers the received request into the response body. That way the client can see what, if any, changes or additions have been made by intermediaries. Patch. The patch method requests that the target source modify its state according to partial update defined in the representation enclosed in the request. This can save bandwidth by updating part of a file or a document without having to transfer its entirety. Okay. All general purpose web servers are required to implement at least get and head methods, and all other methods are considered optional by specifications. That's good to know. Get and head have to be there. All right. It just said get and head methods. Hang on. Sorry. All general purpose web servers are required to implement at least the get and head methods. Just says optional right here. And it just said how did I just get that to rearrange? All right. Okay, there we are. That's the way it was supposed to load. It matches. All right. Any questions so far? I know this is way typically off into our no man's land of what we usually do. But the lesson that I learned this week, I think. So I can't remember if I told everyone this, but it was extremely embarrassing. But I took it. I was like, what can I learn? What can I learn from this? That's the only thing you can control when you have an embarrassing situation, right? Because it's already done. And if you believe that I handled this very well, I'm not explaining that. I did not handle this very well. Did not handle it at all very well. I was extremely frustrated with myself. I berated myself probably most of the day. Literally felt sick for the same amount of time. So let me tell you what I did. I may have told it on a live stream, but I can't remember. So we'll tell it again because we probably have different audience members here. So what had happened was, that's an old saying of where I grew up. What had happened was, so I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn, an acquaintance of an acquaintance, and I was like, hey, maybe we should interact on YouTube. I have 13,000 subscribers and I have over 1 million views. Look at me. That's my sell if I trying to get somebody to at least chat with me. Most of the time it works. But I was only partially expecting them to want to do it. But they are a go-getter and they responded, "Sure, what do you have in mind?" And I had not thought that far. So this goes back to being prepared. If you're going to try something, expect the opportunity to keep moving. It's like, hey, I want to get this interview. It'd be cool to get this interview. Well, are you going to prepare for the interview? Well, I don't know if I'm going to get the interview. That's the half-hearted behavior that I've struggled with, because I don't expect things to go super well, because that's kind of like a new thing for me. So when I had this other friend of mine reach out and tell me to apply for this job, I'm like, well, I'm not going to do so. Also, back up, pause, and let's go. Pause and let's back up a minute. So I thought that was very interesting that I had that one hiccup with the acquaintance of the acquaintance, and then now I'm having basically the same thing happen. Well, I'm not going to do the same thing twice. I'm not that dumb. You can make a mistake. I think I've talked about this for a while. You can make a mistake. That's fine. That's actually I actually encourage that a lot, because it keeps you humble, but it also keeps you hungry, because then you're like, the pain of the mistake gets soothed away with the wisdom that you learn. That's kind of a lie that the pain goes away. You remember it. Because the pain is there to help you remind you. It's like a scar. Like, I won't do that again. like when you get banged up and you have something, you're like, yeah, I remember that. But you remember what caused it. You remember the bad decision you made. You remember all the good parts if you got something out of it. It isn't just a horrible memory. So but it keeps you grounded. I love the quote from Bill Gates where he's talking about, be really careful about if you're right all the time. And I know I'm not quoting it right, but I wish I could find it. He goes, then you start thinking you're right all the time. And he's like, it's just this dangerous feedback loop. And yeah, it's like, if you're right all the time, you just start walking around thinking you're right all the time. And it's so dangerous. And you're not. That's when somebody can get really hurt. And you can really make some bad mistakes. All right. That's enough of me ranting for a minute. Let's keep going on this. I do not. I've seen this before. Hang on a second. Impediment.
Idempotent.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Idempotent.
Idempotent. Denoting an element of a set which is unchanged in value when multiplied or otherwise operated on by itself. Impotent. No, that's not right. What is that saying?
Idempotent.
Idempotent. You guys can hear that, right? Hang on. When I'm playing that on the other screen.
Idempotent.
I'm going to make sure you guys can hear this.
Idempotent.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. There we go. I thought everything was still set up. I was changing mics around in scenes and sources yesterday. I don't know if I've ever shown you this, if you've ever worked with OBS. So you have to create a scene, and then you make sources. Look right here. Don't get stuck in that. Then you have the sources for the scene, and they do things. So I was having to tweak that. And I can also tweak, like here, right here. Like this. I can move me around. move it up there while we're streaming. All right. Okay. A method request is idempotent if multiple identical requests with that method have the same effect on a single such request. The methods put and delete and safe methods are defined as idempotent. Safe methods are trivial idempotent since they are intended to have no effect on the server whatsoever. The put and delete methods, meanwhile, wait a minute. It just said, but the put and delete methods meanwhile are idempotent since successful identification requests. All right. Client error, redirection, 500 server error. Oh, interesting. I've not ever seen those. Informational, success, redirection, 400. I remember 404. 404 was pretty standard. Everybody knew 404. And there's a 500. I'd been hearing about 500 on these self-built websites. Sorry, I got all these things that I'm dealing with. All right, for 500 or 505, not 505, 500. Server failed to fulfill an apparently request. The grammar seems really odd in this terminology. The server failed to fulfill an apparently valid request. The server, okay, so an apparent valid request, and apparently, okay, I get that, maybe that verbiage. Apparently the request was valid, so that's what it's saying. All right. Client request. Agent Mozilla, accept text HTML application. XHTML plus XML application, blah blah blah, accept language, accept encode, zip, deflate, blur, connection, keep alive. All right, agent. So this is your agent is the browser. For such as 404 are communication errors, servers or server side errors. 3 are user side errors, not sure the other 2. Yeah, I had not ever seen. So that means if you really think about it, there's a lot of them if they have X and X. Further action needs to be taken in order to complete this request redirection. All right, I wonder if it's redirected and then started to fall apart. All right, server responses. All right. A client request consisting, in this case, of the request line, a few headers that can be reduced to only the host name header, is followed by a blank line. Is that this one? 1.1, 200. Okay. So 200 is a good one. 200 is successful. Okay, yeah, 200 is successful. I think I remember that. Server response looks like OBS is struggling a little bit right now. How much memory am I using up? I'm only at 47%. Looks like it's getting a little lighter outside. Maybe that's better. All right. Let me go back here. Not there. There. How's that? All these spots on my skin that are acting up. Sorry, everybody. I want to check something else. Yeah, low bit rate. I got just really low bit rate. Don't write in third person. Be yourself. Mission. So what did she? Hang on, I want to read this. Don't write in third person, be yourself. When she is written about herself in third person, building mechanical keyboards or neglecting the Oxford comma, she works as a security strategist. Okay. Oh, she's making fun of herself. That's funny. Carly is funny. I don't know if you know Carly from Call of Duty, machine learning. She's all over the internet. Hang on a second. Sorry. Going down a rabbit hole of LinkedIn. All right, so server response. Content length 155. Content length. Oh, is that the header? Okay. HTML, body, head, title, an example page, body, P. This is a very simple, this is a very simple HTML document. E tags and entity tags, encrypted connection. All right. So we need to go back over to here. Let's see. How long have we been on today? Oh, we've only been on an hour and 11 minutes. Oh, we got lots of time. I'm freezing today. It is, not to complain, because I know other people are a lot colder, but it is in the low 30s where I am. And that's pretty cold. It's not, and we got a bunch of rain coming in. We got snow all around us. Yep. Okay, I just got the email from 23andMe that they just got it's got all my stuff. I'm excited about that. My wife and I got my wife the 23andMe, God, last year or the year before, I can't quite remember. And she has really liked that. And we talked about it, and I got then the Ancestry. But then we realized they are competing, but for different areas. So they do not do Ancestry is more lineage. Hey, let's see if we can track down your relatives with your DNA, which is cool. And Ancestry is more like a bigger net of where did you come from on the globe, and related to segments, like what is the closest. So one is like, I guess you could say macro DNA and micro DNA. It's like, hey, we are really tracking down exact relatives, and others are here's where you were probably related to, and we don't care about the exact lineage. And I don't know. She gets the 23andMe's updates. It seems like it's monthly. I don't think it's weekly. I know it's not quarterly. And she just told me that like Vikings, like she has like some Viking lineage, and I want to know, because I'm intrigued, because our family, and what was also interesting is her dad used to say that they had a lot of Indian, or they had Indian, and that's what my grandmother used to say. So I just wanted families make up stuff to, especially back in the day, to class status, and it's still class status around the globe is still very, very active, but it used to be a big deal here too. Wow, I got all these little goofy little things on me, bumps everywhere, bacteria just going bananas on me. All right, so I want to actually know if I'm of German descent, because that's the story, the lore, the family lore, and also Indian, Native American lore, and I want to solve that. I can't wait to find out, because my grandmother, my dad's mom, and her daughters, my aunts, used to, because she'd say we're part. She's like, I'm 1/8 Indian, and they're like, yeah, whatever. So that means I'm 1/32 Indian. Well, we're gonna find out very, very soon in the next 2 weeks if I am, and also if I'm of German descent. So, and I have a weird accent where I live, because where I live there are very heavy accents around here, and if you're from around here, I sound like a foreign, or from an outsider, and if you're not from around here, I sound like I'm from here. It's very interesting. It cracks me up. All right, be right back. All right, coming back. Okay, how bad is that lighting now? I bet I look very grainy. Okay, and very red if I sit up close. If if I close that, do I need more light or less light? I can't figure out what's going on. I got a heater over here. I just got it running. Let me turn it off. I could just go put more clothes on. See, I can't close out too much light or that happens. So, whatever. We can't have, you can have it fast. Can't have it good. What is it? What drove me nuts is that I was 47. You can have two of the three. You can have it fast. You can have it cheap. You can have it good. You can pick two. I was like, wait a minute, what? Because if you want it good, you can't have it fast. So if you want it fast, and I don't know whoever came up with this was a genius. So if you want it fast and good, you can't have it cheap. If you want it good and cheap, can't have it can't have it fast. What's the other combination? Oh yeah. And if you want it cheap and fast, won't be good. And I'm like, yeah. But I was in a meeting at home office in Bentonville. First time I heard this. 47 years old. And I was on the phone. Ended up talking to my dad and my son, my younger son, within days of each other. It's better? Okay. And understandably, my dad would have heard about it. But I also think about him being in a bubble, being self-employed. Because you're trying to run a business. You're not having a lot of outside things. But then my then 17-year-old son had known about this. And I was like, of course he had. Of course he had. That dude is, my kids are so smart. My kids are, it's just, I don't know. I think it's God's joke to give you kids who are smarter than you are, and you just have to figure it out. I also think that a person is as smart as they will ever be when they're born, and we make them dumber. So you just have to be on the lookout for that. Because a kid will try all sorts of new things, but we inject them with fear. We inject them with being risk averse and all of these things. All right, let's get back to this. Ajax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, I feel like that's important. Ajax verbs. Ajax attributes. And this is Ajax get, post, put, patch, and delete. All right. I don't know where I think that needs to go. All right, so triggering requests. By default, AJAX requests are triggered by the natural events of an element. Okay. Input, text area, and select are triggered on the change event. Form is triggered on the submit event. Everything else is triggered by a click event. Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to click or, I mean, you're clicking or you're changing, because I remember when I was using the forums in VB.net, it was changed. Hang on. Depends on our definition of smart. It is smart to not overthink things, but that is exactly what kids do, and they also rush headlong into things they have no clue of yet. Yeah, that is an interest. Yeah, I guess I think of raw problem solving skills, like I misuse smart in that. Intelligent, actual raw. Think about it just like a computer. There's an X trigger. HX trigger. ADHD moment. All right, so let's highlight this and come back to this. All right, so intelligent, the actual raw ability to solve things. So smart, I meant to say intelligent, like actual raw ability to think. And because they're not cluttered. But then the downside is they don't know anything, so they don't have any external resources most of the time. So it's a trade-off. I don't know. I don't have any history or knowledge to clutter this problem, and I would then be able to solve this easier than if it is a more complex and it needs outside resources. That's where the downside comes in. And that is an exact of a software engineer, a data engineer, just a blank engineer. So when you don't know anything, when you're starting out, and when you're in a new field, you're just like a young person. You don't know what can kill you. You don't know what's safe and not safe. But then also you're not hindered by fear or being wrong. And then the more experienced you get, you can become risk averse. So it's a razor's edge for everything. Just like we've talked about over-engineering here. When you don't have any experience, you're going to start and you're just going to build this thing to solve this problem. And it could be ugly. But now, once you get some experience, you're like, hey, we need to plan for this. Hey, we need to plan for this. And easily, you could turn around with a Rube Goldberg, a over-engineered monstrosity for something that just needed to be super, super simple. Razor's edge walk. So that's there's a old line somewhere. Be childlike, not childish. Be childlike, and that statement is very, very true. What that means to me is be carefree and don't allow things to clutter your judgment that shouldn't. Don't be a child, but be childlike. Don't. There's a. They actually put that in one of the prequels of Star Wars. They go in, and Yoda is teaching a class of younglings. Yoda knows the answer. He wants to expose the kids to learning. And I think it's Obi-Wan is there, and his mind is so cluttered with all of this extra information. And awesome, Jan. I appreciate it. But no, all of these things, and that's just my opinion. Don't take it for whatever it's worth. Keep that in your... The way that I like to think about things is I can ignore information, but if I don't have it, I don't have the luxury to ignore it. I want all of the information, and then I want to sift through it and see if it goes with this. I want all of it. I want the good ideas. Side note, and then we'll get back to Obi-Wan. There was this one guy that worked for me. 9 out of 10 times his ideas and his statements were either awful, off topic, venting, just dumb. But every 1 out of 10, he would have this brilliant idea that I loved and we needed to do. But I had to listen to the other 9. And it took me a long time to figure out that. So it was like the opposite of a sales call. So when you would get 9 no's to get that one yes, I would have to listen to all this other complaining and bad ideas to get this one gem out of this older guy who had been doing this for so long. And I'd be like, yeah, let's go do that. And he'd be like, really? I'm like, that's a brilliant idea. And then I just knew I had to sit there and listen and hear all the other bad ideas and the complaints and the just belly aching for that one good idea. But I never dismissed it. I didn't stop it because I wanted all the information. I wanted all the information from everyone. And then I decided what was good or bad. But if you cut off sources of information, so the old saying, nothing I'm saying is new. What I'm about to say is going to just, it's an old saying that's just going to wrap up everything I just said. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's actually one thing I think I'm actually trying to get the nerve up to do, is to write a book with all the old sayings. Nothing, idle hands. I mean, you can reword and put them all in a book, and very few new ideas. My dad says that all the time. There are very few new ideas because there's just so many people walking around. All right, but back to Obi-Wan. He was there, and he's like, this just doesn't make any sense. The planet's gone. How can the planet be gone? Blah, 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 blah. An older, mature person is like, this is impossible. And he goes to the kids, and he's like, hey, what are some ideas of what could happen? And one kid raises his hand. He goes, the planet was deleted. That's the only other option. And that's when Yoda goes, the mind of a child. Because that was the only possibility. And that's being childlike, not childish. We always have to remember that. All right. Everything else is triggered. This feels triggered request. By default, AJAX requests are triggered by a neutral event. No, natural event. By the natural event of an element. Input, text area, select are triggered on the change event. Form is triggered by... Okay, we need to write that down. Hey, Zenu. Whatever editor you like. Don't get hung up. Not to come at you too hard, but let me put that back on. Let me put that back on you. Does the editor change the quality of programming you'll do? Does that editor help you? So those are the questions you need to ask yourself. But also, you also have to get, you have to learn what is a good question. But you have to also ask questions that aren't quite good yet too. So ask yourself this whole channel and this whole community is, I want to make everyone here so comfortable and so confident in basically figuring these things out on their own. So basically, I want, if you think about it, my goal is to have people not come here anymore except to build up other people. That's what I want this to be. Is basically, I want it to be a path to the Discord server, and then people there share their ideas and possibly then their own YouTube channels, and just build this thing up to some crazy place. But an editor, I want you to think about it. If a builder was building a house, would he care what type of hammer he used? I guess a brand of hammer. There are different types of hammers. So that was an incorrect statement. So a brand of hammer, would it matter? Would the brand of hammer matter to a construction worker who's framing a house? You tell me the answer to that. Are triggered on change events. Ajax is triggered. Form is triggered on a sum. Bingo. There you go. Get something that is, here's another thing to learn. So hang on. Let's see if I even have it on here. Yep. No, sorry. Python. Bingo. Here we go. I used this for, I don't know, 5 years. This is how I wrote everything that I did for 5 years. Is all I needed. I've learned very early on. So I have a lot of stories and a lot of lessons. So while we're talking about this and writing this down, I'm going to tell you about another story that I thought was important as a kid. I was learning tennis. Ajax change event. Here, hang on. Ajax change event. Let me do input. That is not input. Input. Text area and select. All right. So I was playing tennis, and the pro asked me if I wanted to play, and I said, "No, your racket is better than mine." And he goes, "Okay." So we traded rackets. Guess what? It was an absolute massacre, and he played with my racket. But that was a young child's thought, that I thought equipment mattered. Does not matter. Now, when you get to the upper echelon of doing things, then you can go, okay, this tool is better for this situation. But you need to be very, very, very highly skilled. It can, if there are significant differences in quality. Most of the time, that is not the case. Read the description of the editor. If it has features you need, and it's good for you. Bingo. 100%. Because the reason why I recommend, because I'm a huge fan of self-inflicted wounds. If you start working with very sophisticated editors, especially, what am I trying to think of? PyCharm. You can get stuck on dependency problems. You can get stuck on import issues, and you end up working on something that isn't even benefiting you right now. You're not writing any logic. You're not writing any code. You're not doing any of these things that that can benefit you, and you're not learning what you're wanting to learn. Now, at a later time, what I'm most concerned about is someone getting so frustrated with a pre-start. I mean, it's like going to get running shoes, and you're like, I need to go get running shoes, and then you end up getting shoes, and you're spending time finding the right shoes, and you're not actually running. You need to be programming. That's what you want to learn. That's what you need to be spending time on. And that's the question you need to be asking. Am I spending time on programming? All right. And if the answer is no, you need to figure out why and fix that thing. All right. Ajax change event. That's text. Now input. Text area and select. Ajax. Submit. Event is form, and Ajax click event everything else. What am I getting? Okay, garbage. All right. If you want different behavior, you can use hex trigger attribute to specify which event will cause the request. Here is a div that posts mouse entered when interesting. When a mouse enters it. So basically, if it enters an area, okay, so it would act a certain way. All right, I can say here mouse, here mouse. Okay, triggered modifiers. Let's see. A trigger can also modifiers that changes behavior. For example, if you want to request to only happen once, you can use the once modifier for the trigger. Interesting. Okay. Other modifiers you can use triggers are change, delay, throttle, from. Interesting. Okay. Only issue a request if the value of the element is changed. Yep. I dealt with that with VB.net. Because if there was clicked, changed. Now also had experience with Pygame. There's key up and key down. So there could be all sorts of attributes of behavior, because if you're holding something, you want to track the actual motion, and then you want to know what state it's in. Or you could, there was this other time where we had the buttons. No, was it buttons? I think it was a button. And if it changed between the two, because you would have it, or if you could have three that were linked together, and you wouldn't have to, I forget how we did it or how I did it. Actually, I need to start writing all that down if I get asked, because that was some major front end work. Yeah. Actually, let's do that right now. Let me recreate a form that I worked on. All right. It was very cool. All right. Don't know why I'm doing this. It's not pertinent to. I already have that was so weird. All right. Add a date. Had some buttons. Start. End. Start date, end date. Had department. Oh, what was it? That was one of them. Oh, I wonder if I could get... Oh, I wonder if he'd send that to me. Okay, let's just keep going. What all was on there? It had department, start date, end date, department. And then we had all sorts of buttons. All right, give me a second. And then we had the submit button. Let me read. Let me type submit and then put a box around it. All right. There we go. Had our submit button. What was start date, end date, start date? Hang on. It's already been 30 minutes again. Give me a second. Alexa, stop. Damn it. Alexa, set 30-minute timer. 30 minutes. Starting now. All right, I'm back. Okay. Freezy McFreezy pants today. Okay. That looks like garbage. So if I were to, I need to rebuild. Oh, I need to rebuild this. Start date, end date. Oh, I wish. Do I still have those templates? Is it on the other hard drive? Sorry, thinking out loud. Because I think if I were to share what I did, And then the orchestration, we use Dataiku for our orchestration. And then we created templates. Then I created the templates. There was some buttons over here. What did these buttons do? Radio buttons. That was the thing. Oh, okay. Radio buttons. Radio buttons are cool because what was happening is when you, So an action would happen inside of this. And what it would do is it would check and see which ones were pressed. And I wonder, would it be worthwhile me recreating that? Would that be annoying? Because I think, all right, this is probably HTML. Okay, let's look at this. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. Did we come back and finish this? And then some modifiers. Trigger, text name, Q, trigger delay, key up, change delay, key up, changed it. So key up, so the actual key coming up from after it's being depressed. Because there's also key down. CSS selector, search. So a search button. And then also the other forms. And then that one was going to be, sorry, there was a update that I was going to look for that I was stuck on. Because there was so many manual processes that this lady I worked was building something for, and her manual process was extravagant, and we were trying to automate it so much. And what was so interesting, that's staff analytics engineer, senior applied scientist. Let's see what that is. Namer. Oh, machine learning. Yeah. I don't know if I want to do machine learning. Because it's... Who's this? I don't think I know them. Are they in my network? No, I don't know how I know them. Nope. Don't know them at all. All right. So the way that this worked is once they hit, but yeah, the radio buttons were so cool, and you had to have all the scenarios. What was? I know I did more here. Was it DC type? Was it department type? Or was it on the other page? I know the other page I built. I had the functionality of the forms that it would create. Yeah, I need to be able to articulate that. So major contributions to front end. So this description... where did it say? With major contributions to front-end features. Yeah, this is a major contribution to front-end features. Okay. I mean, I built 2 whole applications for for our team. Added forms, and it's just going to be different technology. Special events, trigger, okay. Properties like control key will be, okay, we need to look at this. All right, the input will issue requests 500 milliseconds after an up key event is input and has changed insert into div with the ID search requests. Multiple triggers can be specified in the HX trigger attribute, separated by commas. Multiple triggers, okay. Click control key. Control click me, all right. Well, I'd love an example of the multiple. They just said that you can have multiple and there's no example of it. So would it be like an array? Or just separated by commas? That's not very clear. All right. How long have we been on? Coming up on, we'll finish polling. Load polling, request indicators. Yeah, we'll probably wrap up here in about 5 minutes. Any questions of anything we're going over? Because I just realized what I'm going to need to do. I need to rebuild the forms that I did. See, they say they want a full stack developer, which I'm learning that just means can you do everything? Which this is low ball, but I'm not that good, so yeah. HTMX. Oh, we did not look at TailwindCSS. We need to do that. TailwindCSS. Check this out. All right. Best practices, documentation, command line. TailwindCSS works by scanning all your HTML files, JavaScript components, and any of the templates for class names, generating CSS file. It's fast, flexible, and reliable with 0 runtime. Okay. Command line interface. Standalone install Tailwind. No, it's not Trailwinds. It's Tailwind. Oops. Tailwind CSS via they use npm. Okay. Configure path. God, we're not gonna. Oh, if it's regex, I'm screwed. If they're gonna have to use regular expressions, I'm out of luck. All right. Let's see. All right, we're probably gonna wrap here because we're basically at 2 hours. Don't know what video I'm gonna do today, if any. Probably after this, and then make some more content while I'm trying to rebuild the forms that I did. Major contribution says, what is it? Let me rephrase. They use the word as a full stack engineer with major contributions to front end features. Yeah. And let's see. Major contributions. Added new cards, added new functionality. What functionality did I add? Okay. Hang on a second. Let me get a blank. because I know what I would ask myself. And then new. And we're going to move this over here. Front end features. Added new cards. Added new functionality. What functionality? What functionality? Wind tracker. Yeah. All right. Okay, everyone. I'm gonna wrap up for today. We'll pick up where we are tomorrow. I'll show you what I have. Don't know if I'm gonna do some rough estimates from rough layouts, because I might spend too much time on that. And it's not gonna look that great. So, all right. I hope everyone has a good rest of their day, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Thanks again, everyone. Bye. Did you just say bye-bye? Oh, bye, guys. Bye, guys.